Belgium lost 125. Just a little over a third of what we lost. I mean, we didn't lose hardly any men, basically, in World War I, compared to the slaughter. And I'll just name Austria-Hungary, 4,800,000, Germany, 6,250,000, and the Ottoman Empire, 2.25 million. We don't, when we fight wars, we don't take a lot of casualties. Alright, World War II began. You know when it began? It began on September 1st, 1939. But the United States of America didn't get into it. Why did World War II begin? Causes of the conflict. On September 1st, 1939, Germany attacked Poland. It should say Germany and Russia attacked Poland. After the successful test of its blitzkrieg lightning war method, the German war machine crushed 6 countries, Denmark, Norway, Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands and France, in 3 months in 1940. Adolf Hitler, the dictator of Germany, failed in his attempt to knock out Great Britain by bombing and submarine blockade. Now, September 1st, 1939, Germany invades Poland under a secret treaty with Russia. We later found out about that treaty. But Russia invaded Poland too. And why didn't Britain declare war on Russia at that time? And later on, when Hitler declared war on Russia, or invaded Russia, I should say, proxy declaration of war, Britain should already have been at war with Russia. And then, I mean, it would have been crazy, but Britain allied with them. Anyways, America didn't get in right away. And we came in 1941. December 7th, 1941, we got hit by Japanese bombers, you know that, at Pearl Harbor. And we declared war on Japan. Japan declares war on us. And Hitler declares war on us. December 8th, I think, he declared war on us. It's the only country he ever declared war on. Every other country he just invaded or let them declare war on him, and from then on it was belligerence. But he actually declared war on America. Never declared war on anybody else. What a ninny. I mean, he couldn't even do anything. He couldn't even hit us with a bullet or bomb or anything. Some German subversives did some damage on the East Coast and stuff. That's true. Some terrorist strikes. So we come in 1941, December 7th, 1941 to be exact. So let's call it 1942 if you please. And then the war ends in 1945. Now it ended in April 1945 as far as the European theater was concerned. Berlin fell, but didn't end until August 1945 in the Asian theater, where we finally nuked Japan on August 13th, I believe. I'd have to look that up in this encyclopedia I have, but I'm not going to. In August of 1945, we nuked Japan twice, 3 days apart. They wouldn't answer us in that period of 3 days in between, so we nuked them again. What the hell? And they surrendered. Luckily, they surrendered because we didn't have any more nukes. So, you know, our attitude was, you better surrender or we're going to keep dropping them. But we were kind of sitting there going, well, geez, it's going to be a couple months before we can get another one ready. So, hope they surrender. So they didn't reply after the first one, but after the second one they did. Thank goodness for them and everybody else. Okay, World War II's finished. On to the next big conflict. Which one is it? The Korean War or the Vietnam War? Which one came first? Let's see. Do you know? Well, the Korean War started and ended several years before the Vietnam War got underway. Even though France was over there in Vietnam already bloodied up while we were in Korea, still, point stands. The Korean War started what year? 1950. And ended what year? 1953. June 25th, 1950, North Korean communist troops invades South Korea. The UN demands that North Korea halt the action. June 27th, 2 days later, President Truman ordered U.S. and air and naval forces to help defend South Korea. The UN asked member nations to aid South Korea. June 30th, 5 days after the invasion, Truman ordered U.S. ground troops to South Korea. September 8th, a month and a couple weeks, Allied troops stopped the deepest communist advance at the Pusan perimeter in southeastern South Korea. Goes from there, and do you know how many men we lost in the Korean War? Military casualties in the Korean War. Total casualties, South Korea, 400,000. The United States, 162,000. Now that's casualties, not deaths. Because dead, the United States lost 54,000 killed. 54,000 killed in the Korean War in a period of 3 years. 54,000, which is fine. And then, what about Vietnam? How many did we lose in Vietnam? And what year did Vietnam start? 1957, the Viet Cong began to attack South Vietnamese government headed by Ngo Nguyen Diem. August 7th, 1964, 7 years later if you please, the U.S. Congress passed the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, which gave the President power to take all necessary measures to repel any armed attack against the forces of the United States and to prevent further aggression. February 7th, 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson ordered U.S. pilots to bomb military targets in North Vietnam. 1973, March 29th, 1973, the last American troops left South Vietnam. So a war that lasted 15 years if you count, totally 13 years if you include just when we had military advisors going in there, to when we pulled the last guy out on a helicopter off the roof of a building, the embassy. Fine. So how many did we kill, or how many got killed in Vietnam? You know that there were 54,000 killed in Korea. 56,000 U.S. troops died in the Vietnam War, including 46,000 in combat. So a war that took 3 times as long as the Korean War, 4 times as long as the Korean War. Killed by the same number of men. That's odd because I had in memory, very firmly implanted in my memory, 38,000 is the number of Vietnam troops killed. But nevertheless, there it is. Those are the major wars and events in America's history. And if you know just the general dates and figures of those, it gives you a lot of scale of appreciation and so forth. Like if you know 500,000 killed in the Civil War, and you know that every other war put together didn't kill as many as we killed in the Civil War. If you know that, you know the amazing scale of the Civil War. You know the dates that it took place. If you know these things, you hear 3 million killed in Rwanda over the last 2 years or whatever. Or some, gives you some scale to measure the size of the catastrophe. In the Darfur region, several 100,000 killed. It's like 4 or 5 Vietnams in a couple of years. And then if you know the dates of these, some people don't know when World War I started and ended. And they don't know that it was going for 3 years before America entered it. They don't know that World War II was 6 years long, and that we were only in it for 4 of those 6 years. So some people know these things and others don't, and that's a general history quiz. I think it would be, do you good to memorize these facts among others. And I'll be looking at some facts from ancient history, perhaps a little who's who in ancient history and stuff like that. Just some basic, easy, fundamental facts that most educated people ought to be aware of. So there it is. Hope you scored well on that quiz. There it is. So if you didn't do too good on that quiz, why don't you go ahead and do some studying.